Good evening, everyone. Sorry for being late because of unavoidable circumstances. I couldn't take class from, I think I was not able to take class on time. So apologies for that. So today, I may see in the last class, we have completed the basics of Parliament. I mean, what is the duration of both the houses of Parliament? What is the election and the method of election and the distribution of seats in both the houses? Okay. So today we will start with the qualification of members of parliament. I mean, what is the qualification to become a member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha? So the qualification for members of parliament is described under Article 84. So we will start with Article number 84. Okay. Article 84. So Article 84 is related with the qualification of members of parliament. Qualifications of members of parliament. So the first qualification for members of parliament is simple. He should be a citizen of India. So the first qualification is simple and no one is going to ask this in examination because we all understand that for being a member of parliament, you have to be a citizen of India. So even if you don't remember this, you would be able to guess. Now, the second qualification is particularly important because it is related to the age. So to become a member of Lok Sabha, the minimum age is 25 years, and to become a member of Rajya Sabha, the minimum age is 30 years. Remember, there is only minimum, there is no maximum. I mean, if you ask that what is the maximum age to become a member of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, there is no maximum age, there is only minimum age. So you can become a member of Lok Sabha at the age of 25 years, and you can become or you can keep on becoming the member of Lok Sabha so long you exist or so long you are capable of winning the election. Okay, so there is no maximum, there is only minimum 25 and 30. The third qualification is that, see, when you win the election, then the President of India administers oath. We all know that after winning the election, before occupying the seat, we have to take oath before the President. So this is obvious. But even before the election, you have to take oath. So third qualification is that you have to take oath before becoming a member of parliament. So the third is oath. Now, after election, we have to take oath in front of the president. I mean, the president administers oath once you become a member of parliament. But before becoming a member of parliament, I mean, before contesting the election, in front of, I mean, we should take oath in front of whom? So our answer is, we should take oath in front of a person who is authorized by the election commission for this purpose. So the third qualification is that we have to take oath before a person who has been authorized by election commission for this purpose. So we take oath first as a qualification and then after becoming a member of parliament. Okay, so this is the third qualification to take oath before a person authorized by election commission, and usually he is the district returning officer and he is basically district collector of that place. So he administers oath. Now the fourth is determined by parliament. So the constitution has described only 3 qualifications for member of parliament, and in the fourth point, the constitution leaves everything to the parliament. I mean, now constitution expects that parliament should frame additional qualifications for member of parliament. 3 qualifications have been framed by the constitution makers, and now the fourth qualification depends upon the Parliament of India. So accordingly, parliament added few extra qualification under Representation of People Act 1951. So Parliament enacted Representation of People Act 1951. We also call it as RPA 1951. So under this act, it is mentioned that you can contest election of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha from any place, from any district in the entire country. I mean, initially there was a restriction that you can contest election of Rajya Sabha only from that state from which you are a registered voter. So suppose I am from Madhya Pradesh. I am a registered voter in Madhya Pradesh. Therefore, I can contest election to the Rajya Sabha only from Madhya Pradesh and not from any other state, be it Assam, Bengal. No. I can contest election to the Rajya Sabha only from my state, that is Madhya Pradesh, because I am a registered voter in Madhya Pradesh, not in any other state. So this condition was removed, and now it is possible for any person to contest elections to the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha from any part of the territory of India. So now there is no such requirement that you have to be a registered voter of that state in order to become a member of Rajya Sabha from that state. Okay, earlier there was such condition now, but now there is no condition. You can contest election from anywhere, wherever you want to. Okay. So this is the main qualification which is described under Representation of People Act 1951. And one more thing, we all know, I mean, I don't know whether you know or not, but the seats are reserved for SC and ST in Lok Sabha. So in order to contest a seat which is reserved for scheduled caste, then you have to belong to that particular community. And I mean, this is obvious that if you have to contest a seat which is reserved for scheduled caste, then you have to be of that community. So these are some additional qualifications to become a member of parliament. And remember, it is very simple that if I am eligible to vote, then I am also eligible to become a member of parliament. I must be a registered voter in any parliamentary constituency. See, right now what I was explaining, that you can contest election from anywhere. The basic requirement is that you must be a registered elector in any parliamentary constituency. It means if I am authorized to vote, then I am also authorized to become, or I am eligible to become, a member of parliament. Okay, so you should be a registered voter in any part of India. So these are the these are the qualifications prescribed under Article 84. Now, after Article 84, we will discuss the disqualification of members of parliament. And I hope you understood the qualifications of member of parliament. It is simple to understand. And for your examination, for those who are preparing for SSC examination, this particular qualification is extremely important. I mean, SSC hardly asks this, or this. SSC usually asks about the age, that which is the minimum age to become a member of Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. So you have to remember this. This point is especially important for you, related to age. Okay, so we are done with the qualification, and now we will start with the disqualification of members of parliament. Now listen, there is no order or sequence in the constitution. The qualification is mentioned under Article 84, but the disqualification is mentioned under Article 102. Many a times student ask that, sir, why you are not explaining the articles in sequence? I mean, first you should explain Article 79, then Article 80, 81, 82, 83. But why you are picking up articles from here and there? The fact is that there is no sequence in the constitution. Ideally, if Article 84 is qualification, then Article 85 should be disqualification for sequence. But Article 84 is qualification and Article 102 is disqualification. So that is why we are not able to explain the articles in sequence. It is better to pick articles which are relevant, related to the topic. So after qualification, obviously we have to understand disqualification. So now the next article is Article 102, and Article 102 is related to disqualification. Okay, so what are the disqualification of members of parliament? So the first disqualification, and remember, these disqualifications are important for you. Okay, so do not try to ignore especially the disqualification. Okay, in the qualification, you just remember that one point. For Lok Sabha, minimum is 25 years, and for Rajya Sabha, minimum is 30 years. But in disqualification, you try to remember all the points which are mentioned in this. Okay, so the first disqualification in the for the members of parliament is the most important one, and it is if he holds any office of profit. If he holds any office of profit. So this is the first disqualification mentioned under Article 102, that you will be disqualified as a member of parliament if you are holding an office of profit. Now, students ask that what is office of profit, and let me tell you, I have already explained the concept of office of profit in the topic president, because for president, again, he should not hold any office of profit. So let me again remind what is exactly office of profit. The office of profit is not defined in the constitution. Okay, so but its genesis can be traced to the Britain. In Britain, you will find that there is a concept of office of profit. Earlier, king used to distribute office to lure MPs to his side. Okay, so MPs can work in his favor. The king used to distribute office of profit to the members of parliament. That is why the Parliament of Britain abolished the concept of office of profit, that no member of parliament should hold any office of profit. So the same disqualification is in the Indian constitution, that as a member of parliament you should not hold any office of profit. So what is exactly office of profit? According to the court, office of profit is any office which is capable of yielding profit. So if I can, if a particular office is able to yield profit, okay, then that office can be called as office of profit. Now, the Supreme Court has laid down guidelines as to what constitutes an office of profit. So according to Supreme Court, a particular office can be treated as office of profit if the government has appointed you to that office, or the government can remove you from that office, or the government has control over the functions of your office, or the government is paying you remuneration, or you are performing functions for the government. Okay, so if any of these conditions are satisfied, then remember that particular office can be deemed to be an office of profit and you will be disqualified as a member of parliament. So these guidelines are laid down by the court. These guidelines are not mentioned in the these guidelines are not mentioned in the constitution. These are prescribed by the Supreme Court, and it is up to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court sometimes decides on case to case basis. Okay, so I hope the office of profit is clear. So one thing that you have to remember is that the office of profit is not mentioned in the constitution. Now the second thing is that if he is undischarged insolvent, if he is undischarged insolvent. Now students find it difficult to understand that what is undischarged insolvent. First of all, they were not able to understand what is office of profit. Now the second is what is undischarged insolvent. To be honest, it is simply to be a bankrupt person. Okay, so if you are bankrupt, it means you are undischarged insolvent. So the constitution makers could have written bankrupt in place of undischarged insolvent, but the constitution makers somehow decided to choose bulky language in place of simple language bankrupt. Had it been bankrupt, it would have been far easier for us to understand. Okay, but nonetheless, if he is undischarged insolvent, then again he will be disqualified as a member of parliament. Now the third qualification is if he is of unsound mind. If he is of unsound mind, now it is easier to understand. Unsound mind means he is bit. Okay. Now the fourth is if he is not a citizen of India or he has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of any other country. Okay. So the fourth is if he is not a citizen of India, if he is not a citizen of India or has voluntarily acquired the citizenship of any other country, because the Indian constitution recognizes only the single citizenship. It means you can be only the citizen of this country, not of any other country. Okay, so long you are an Indian citizen, you cannot hold any other country's passport. So if you have voluntarily acquired the citizenship of another country and we are not aware about it, so once this comes to limelight, then obviously you will be disqualified as a member of parliament because you are holding another country's passport. So the fourth qualification is related to citizenship. Okay, and now the fifth qualification. Now in fifth, it is mentioned that it is up to the parliament to determine additional disqualification. So the fifth is to be determined by parliament. Now again, for additional disqualification, Parliament enacted the same, under the same act, Representation of People's Act 1951, the Parliament also described the additional disqualification. And the most important additional disqualification under RPA 1951 is if a person is sentenced to 2 years or more, then he will be disqualified in general. And the same disqualification was used against Rahul Gandhi. See, Rahul Gandhi was sentenced for 2 years of imprisonment. Why? Because under RPA 1951, if a person has been imprisoned for 2 years or more, then he will be disqualified from becoming a member of parliament. So had the court pronounced 1 year imprisonment, then he would not have been disqualified under Representation of People Act 1951. So in order to ensure that Rahul Gandhi is disqualified from becoming a member of parliament, the court awarded 2 years of imprisonment. The court could have awarded less than 2 years of imprisonment, but the court deliberately awarded at least 2 years of imprisonment, so that this particular provision of the Representation of People Act can be invoked. So the most important is that if a person has been imprisoned for 2 or more years, then that person will be disqualified from becoming a member of parliament. But remember, this disqualification is not for the entire lifetime of that person. You, for example, suppose the court said you will be in jail for 2 years. So the imprisonment is for 2 years. So 2 years you will be in jail. You will not be able to become member of parliament. After those 2 years, you will be a free person. But from that 2 years, additional 6 years you have to count. So total 8 years. So it means if a court has, if a court has sentenced you to sentenced you for 5 years, so 5 plus additional 6 years. So for total period of 11 years, you cannot become a member of parliament. Okay. So, and suppose if the fine is penalty, court held you guilty and court is saying that you pay 1 lakh rupee fine. So fine plus 6 years of disqualification. So the disqualification under Article 102 is not for lifetime. It is for imprisonment plus additional 6 years. Okay. So this is the most important disqualification mentioned under RPA. When a person is imprisonment for sentenced to imprisonment for 2 or more years. Okay. And there are other disqualification as well. For example, if you have been found of indulging in corrupt practices, okay, or you are you are practicing some social evils, for example, untouchability, dowry, sati. Okay, so these also can be the ground for disqualification under RPA 1951. So there are many disqualification under Article 1951. Under RPA Act 1951. So I hope Article 102 disqualification is clear. If he holds any office of profit, or if he is bankrupt, or if he is not mentally sound, or if he is not a citizen of India or has acquired the citizenship of any other country, and the fifth is to be determined by the Parliament of India, and the Parliament has determined that if a person is imprisoned for 2 or more years, then he will be disqualified. Okay, so we are done with the disqualification, and now after Article 102, we will start Article 103. And now what is Article 103? Article 103 is also important, related to disqualification. According to Article 103, if ever any question arises which is related to the disqualification of member of parliament, then such question shall be decided by the president on the advice of election commission. So usually president acts on the aid and advice of council of ministers, but in the case of disqualification of members of parliament, see, all the questions of disqualification of members of parliament are referred to the president. Now the president will decide, but not on the advice of council of ministers. When it comes to deciding the disqualification question, then the advice of election commission matters. So the president will act according to the advice of election commission and not on the advice of council of ministers. So under Article 103, we have to write that questions related to disqualification, questions related to disqualification are decided by the president on the advice of election commission, and the president has to act in accordance to the advice of the election commission. Okay, in this case the council of ministers cannot interfere. Okay, so I hope this thing is clear. Now I am again trying to say that Article 84, 102 and 103, all these 3 articles are important. If question ever comes in the examination, that who decides the question related to the disqualification of members of parliament, then the answer is president. Or if the question comes like this, that on whose advice the president decides the question related to disqualification of members of parliament, then the answer is election commission, not the council of ministers, which we usually consider. So we are done with the qualification, disqualification and Article 103, and now we can start with Article 82. Why Article 82? Article 82 is important because lately we have seen there's an issue of delimitation commission. Okay, because the time has come for reallocation of seats in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. Okay, so now we will discuss about the Article 82 because it is of it is in news. So that is why Article 82 is important. So Article 82. So Article 82 says that readjustment after every census. Okay, readjustment after every census. We all know census in Hindi is called as Jangadna. Okay, so after every census, we all know the frequencies after every 10 years we see a census, and it is through this census we are informed by the government that the population of our country has reached to this height, that height, in this state, these many peoples are there. So all these details are under, all these details are in the census. So Article 82 says that readjustment after every census. Now what exactly Article 82 is trying to say? Now remember, under Article 82, it has been said that after every census, there should be two things which should happen. The first is reallocation of seats to the states in the Lok Sabha. See, in the Lok Sabha, the seats are distributed on the basis of population. So, in Uttar Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh has the highest population. So, accordingly, the highest number of seats are allotted to Uttar Pradesh. Why? Because seats are distributed according to the population. So, those states which have huge population, obviously they will get high number of seats. So after every 10 years, first thing that should happen will be the reallocation of seats to the states in the Lok Sabha. Okay, so after every census, under Article 82 it is mentioned, after every census, these two things should happen. The first is reallocation of seats to the states in the Lok Sabha. Okay, the first thing, because we all know seats are distributed on the basis of population. Suppose at present, Uttar Pradesh has 80 seats in Lok Sabha. So after readjustment, we realized that the population of Uttar Pradesh has just doubled. So now we will allot 160 seats to Uttar Pradesh. So it depends upon the population of that state. So the first task is reallocation of seats to the states in the Lok Sabha, and the second, the task is division of each state into territorial constituency. Division of each state into territorial constituencies. Territorial constituencies. Okay. So these are the two tasks which should be performed after every census. Okay, and I hope these two tasks are clear. Division of each state into territorial constituencies, and the second is distribution of seats to the states in the Lok Sabha based on the basis of their population. Now, according to Article 2, these two things should be done by an authority which will be appointed by the Parliament. So, as per Article 82, these two tasks will be performed by an authority. For this purpose, there will be an authority. And now who will appoint this authority? Parliament by law. Parliament by law. So Parliament by law will constitute an authority, and now this authority is going to determine these two things. So this particular authority, which will be constituted by the Parliament for these two purposes, this authority is known as Delimitation Commission. Delimitation Commission is also known as Boundary Commission. Okay, so basically Article 82 is related to Delimitation Commission or Boundary Commission, and under Article 82, Delimitation Commission is not mentioned, Boundary Commission is not mentioned. Under Article 82, what is mentioned, that for these two purposes, Parliament is going to constitute an authority, and we call this authority as Delimitation Commission or Boundary Commission. And remember, Delimitation Commission is a high powered body. Why I'm calling it as high powered body? Because the report of Delimitation Commission can be discussed in the parliament, but it cannot be challenged in any court and it cannot be altered. So that is why it is called as a high powered body. Okay. Its report cannot be challenged and it can be only discussed in the parliament. So that is why Delimitation Commission is a high powered body. And remember, the parliament has constituted Delimitation Commission so far only 4 times. So Delimitation Commission has been constituted by the parliament for 4 times. First in 1952, then 62, then 1972, and after this 2002. So the last time when Delimitation Commission was constituted was in the year 2002. So far it has been constituted only for 4 times. So you have to remember these years: 52, 62, 72, and 2002. But why? I mean, after every census, there should have been a Delimitation Commission. So it means there should have been a Delimitation Commission in 82, 92. Then why we are saying a gap? Sorry, why we are seeing a gap after 72? It is 2002. Why not in 82, 92? I mean, why there is a gap? So the reason that why there is a gap is simple. See, it was by the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976 that the seats in the Lok Sabha and in the Legislative Assembly, by the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, the seats in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly were frozen. Okay, so the seats were frozen. Okay, so now it is also important that which amendment was responsible for freezing the seats of Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. When I say freezing, it basically means we all know that after every census, there should be a readjustment in the number of seats. I mean, after every census, we should allocate seats to the states according to their population. So after every census, seats should be distributed. Now, this particular exercise was frozen by the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976. For how many years? The 42nd Amendment Act has frozen the it had frozen the number distribution for 25 years. So for the 25 years, the seats were frozen in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. So adding to 25, it makes 2001. So till 2001, all the seats in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly were frozen. It means it doesn't matter what will be the population in the next 20 or 30 years, the seats will remain same on the basis of 1971 census. Okay. So in 2001, the time came for reallocation of the seats, but the government was adamant on extending the restriction. So the government enacted 84th Amendment Act, and by the 84th Amendment Act, government further extended the ban on the reallocation of seats for another 25 years. And now, and same, it is for Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. So for Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly, for another 25 years, the ban was continued. So now it is 2026. So which is about to come in the next year is 2026. That is why I'm saying that this particular thing has become important, because till 2026, the exercise was frozen. There will be no redistribution of seats in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. Okay, so at present we see that there are 543 seats in the Lok Sabha. So these 543 seats are on the basis of 1971 census. The number of seats are on the basis of 1971 census, whereas the internal readjustment of seats is as per 2001 census. Remember what I am saying. The distribution of seats, I mean how many seats a particular state has, this distribution is on the basis of 1971 census. But the internal readjustment of seats has been done on the basis of 2001 census. Okay, so till 2026, all the seats are frozen. And now after 2026, the next census will be in 2031. So in 2031, the time will come to reallocate the seats on the basis of population to the states. Okay, So because it is mentioned in the constitution that the first census after 2026, then we will redistribute the number of seats, and I think it is likely to happen. Why I'm saying so? Because earlier there was old building, and in the old building the seats were limited. You cannot accommodate a more number of members because the building was small. It could not accommodate more than 543 or more than 600 700 members. But now there is a new building, and in this new building there is accommodation for more number of members. So obviously, if now the government has the capacity to increase the number of seats because they know they have a new building, and in that new building they can accommodate more number of people. Okay, so it is likely to happen that the seats will be given to the states. Okay, but one more thing, that there is a resentment among the South Indian states. Now why I'm saying that there is a resentment among the South Indian states, because South Indian states have actually worked to control their population. We see that the population is somewhat under control in the South Indian states, but there is a population explosion in the North Indian state, especially in the state of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh. There you will find population explosion. There are number of peoples, areas limited, number of people, unemployment. I mean, in the northern part of our country, family planning didn't work. So we see more number of people in the northern part compared to the southern part. So what will happen if tomorrow the government decides to reallocate seats on the basis of population? So northern states are going to get benefit of this, whereas southern states will be at disadvantage. Now that is why the southern states are protesting against delimitation. Southern states are saying that for these many years we tried to limit population, which is actually a good thing, and these northern states didn't do anything for family planning. In fact, we see in the news that a particular leader is saying that every Hindu woman should give birth to 4 child. I mean, these kind of statements are passed by some religious leader or some any political leader. So in the northern part there is hardly any concern about the family planning. Okay, so and right now obviously there is a family planning because of the inflation. People do not have enough money to educate their children, because the education is expensive. You cannot afford good private school because these private school ask huge amount of money in the name of donation, in the name of or other extracurricular activities. So parents do not have the capacity to send the children to good private schools. So people have lately understood that yes, if we have more number of kids, then obviously who will bear the expenditure of the children, because with time and with obviously we are seeing the inflation, the things are going to become costly. So if today I have seen in the news that even for in good private school, even for LKG or UKG, the schools are asking lakhs of fees. And this is the problem actually. When the government is not focusing on the education, then the private sector will take the benefit of this. And because of this, private sector knows that there are no government schools, there are no good government schools, then obviously parents are forced to send their children to private school. And obviously when parents will send their children to good school, then because they obviously have no other option, so they will charge according to their wish. And this is what we are seeing at present in our country, that the private schools are asking irrational amount. So they are asking lakhs of rupees just for first standard, second standard, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the South Indian states are protesting against the delimitation exercise because they are saying that we will be at disadvantage. More number of seats will be given to the northern states, and the problem is that if more number of seats are allocated to the northern states, then whichever party wants to form the government at the center, it has to focus only on the northern states. If I know more number of seats are allotted to the northern states, then any party will focus only on the northern states, because they know that if we focus on the northern states, then we can secure the majority in the Lok Sabha. So in order to secure the majority in the Lok Sabha, you just focus on the northern states. Even if the southern states do not support you, no worry. Just focus on Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh and these northern states, and you will be able to form the government. So South Indian states are understanding this particular calculation, that what is going to happen if more number of seats are allotted to the northern states. And one more thing, that why this exercise, what is the logic behind freezing the seats and the population? See, this the point is simple. the government, I mean, when this amendment was enacted, the government is trying to give a signal, and the signal is that there is no connection between the population and the number of seats. If you think that if in your state there is more number of people, then you will get more number of seats, and accordingly your state can get better representation, then we have just cut that relation. Now you try to control the population, because even if there is a large population in your state, then also you will have the limited number of seats. So it is better that you try to control the population, because there will be no benefit of that population in the Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly. So this what the government tried to do. So the intention of freezing the seats in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly was the population controlling measures. The government should take steps to ensure that the population is in control. And right now, I think it is high time for the country and for the policy makers to understand that we are at that point where we cannot afford another population explosion. And I think it is not going to happen, because the way the inflation is going on, I cannot expect that people will be encouraged to have more and more number of kids, because right now everything is expensive around us. Expensive education, expensive medical bills, all these are expensive. So I don't think that the government, I mean the people are somehow going to have more number of kids. Earlier people used to have 3 kids, 4 kids, because at that time people used to live in joint family, so there was ample of space. Children could run here and there in the house. But today we have that system, 2 BHK, 3 BHK. So do you think that in 2 BHK or 3 BHK people are going to have 2 or 3 kids? Obviously there will be no space for the kids in 2 BHK or 3 BHK. There's limited space for the people at present. In the metro cities you will find that 1000 square feet to 1200 square feet. So it is not enough space for 2 or 3 children to survive. Okay, so that is why people are not trying to have more number of kids. Okay, and owing to different factors, obviously one such is inflation and the rise of expenditure. Okay, so I think this is clear that till 2026 the seats has been frozen on the basis of 1971 census, and the readjustment has been on the basis of 2001 census. So with this let me write it here, that what is the purpose of freezing the seat? The answer is simple: population limiting measures. The state should take measures for limiting the population. And I hope you understood the logic, that what is the logic behind the population limiting measures and the freezing of seats in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly. Obviously we do not want to encourage the state government because see, political leaders cares only about the election, so they do not understand the implication of their statement. Political leaders, just for the sake of vote bank, they will say that every Hindu woman or every that woman should have more number of kids. Okay, otherwise we will be in minority. So these kind of statements are passed by the by our political leaders. So obviously they do not care about the family planning and all. They do not. They for them family planning is of least concern. Okay, so we wanted to ensure that there is no connection between the number of seats and the population of your state. So you better try to control the population of your state. Okay, because you are not going to get benefit of the population. Okay, but right now this is going to happen. The states are going to reap the benefit of the overpopulation, and obviously the beneficiaries will be the northern states, and those who will be at a disadvantage are the southern states. Okay, so I hope you understood the logic behind the freezing of seats and population limiting measures. So this was article number 82. So in 82 we have to discuss about the Delimitation Commission. And who constitute Delimitation Commission? It is the Parliament by law, and so far it has been appointed 4 times: 52, 62, 72 in 2002. And why there's a gap after 72 in 2002? Because of these 42 and 84th Amendment Act. Okay, so with this the Delimitation Commission is over. And remember, do not forget to read Delimitation Commission, because see, Delimitation Commission is news. Next year is 2026, and we all know till 2026 the seats were frozen. So that is why this particular topic is important for you, and that's why I've invested time in explaining this topic. Okay, so with this we are done for the day. So tomorrow, same timing, we will continue with Article 85. I mean, first we will start with Article 85, where it is the sessions of Parliament, prorogation, resolution. So that is also important for you. Okay, so goodbye, everyone. I know today I was not able to start the class at sharp 8:30, obviously because of some unavoidable things. Okay, but apologies for that. And tomorrow, hopefully, I will start the class at 8:30 sharp. Okay. So thank you, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow at same timing, 8:30 to 9:30. Okay. And please subscribe this channel. Okay. We are doing our best in order to ensure that we give you the best quality content. And if you have been attending our classes, you must have found that yes, the kind of content that we are delivering, I do not try to boast anything, but yes, the kind of content that we are giving is actually a good level. Okay, if you are even if you are preparing for civil service examination, then you will find these classes of great use. Okay, so okay, so thank you, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow, same timing. Okay, so